Good afternoon, folks, and where will we start? Well, what we'll do is I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to show you the export. I haven't done the import yet, which is what I wanted to do on the stream, so we can basically work on that together. But as we stand, here's how the export works. Okay, I have created a file for all of the maps that have static meshes. Okay, because static meshes seem to be the thing that we are most concerned about, because apparently they make up 90% of the levels. So what I've done up until now is I have gone through every single one of these and found out if there was any static meshes. Okay? And the ones that did, I have created a text file for, which I'm going to show you in a minute. In fact, I'll show you it now. So here we go. So you have the actual path to the static mesh. Then we have the next three is the position, X, Y, and Z. The next three are rotation, X, Y, and Z, or pitch, yaw, and etc. And we have the scale, X, Y, and Z. Can you show me the project so far? Will we do that? Will we give them a quick look? I suppose we could. Right, but what you've got to bear in mind here is what I'm going to load up as a test map that is only for me working on mechanics, okay? Okay. So, let's go to here. And so, to explain this to you, we've got a lot of mechanics working here, right? We have wildlife, pigs. I've only got a pig and a deer. There are other wildlife types that I could pick in. There's a couple of monster types. There's ladders. There's monster spawners. There is a storage container, a crafting table, a cooking station, a fire, other objects that you can interact with. There's a door, there's key to the door, there's food, which is these things here. So, and you can interact with all of those things, right, and do all the things that you would expect to be able to do with those particular things. Like, for example, if you've got food, you can either put it in your inventory or eat it, and it will affect your hunger. If you go to crafting, you can craft items, and they'll be taken out your inventory and then turned into something else, which will go into your inventory. You can put stuff in the container, which will get stored in the container, and then you can pick it out again if you want. Right, fires you can light, but only if you've got the correct thing to light it with. For example, some fuel, which is wood, etc., etc. So, as a little example, right? So you can pull out your bow and arrow. You can aim. You can shoot. You can kill a pig. You can run up to said pig. You can skin it. as I said, this isn't an actual map, this is just a test map to show mechanics. Right, so we get piggy meat, then we can go up to our cooking station and we can basically cook our piggy meat. Right, you can see our stuff going in. Bit of a bug there, that should be coming out, but we can figure that one out later because we're basically doing some severe other stuff. We can go to crafting station, but I haven't got any recipes for that, but obviously it shows your inventory, etc. Right, I moved everything out of that, but then you can go to the storage container and you can basically drag stuff into the storage container. Right, you'll notice our hungers went down. You can go up to food, it gives you the opportunity to eat it. You can see our health gauge at the top going round to full. We can go up to the door, you require a key, then we've got to go and get the key, so keys round here. We can take the key and now we can open the door. Right, we can go up to the fire. Now this is an old, actually this should work. Right, so it says you require an item, fuel. So we need fuel, and this is fuel, which is wood. We can take that. You can also go into your inventory. You can click on an item, and then you can have a look at it, see what it is, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. Right, you can sort stuff by in your inventory. Then we can go up to the fire and we can light it, and then if you notice on the left hand side, our temperature gauge will start going up once we light the fire because it emits heat. So you'll see that going up. Right, and as we move away, our temperature gauge will go down a bit, and then that's going to affect the left hand side temperature gauge because you're going to have a core temperature in your body, and that's going to affect how fast your values go down. Right, you can see all the particles giving off light, etc. And you can also switch on another one, which is that fire there, which is going to light that, etc, etc. If I could see bad guys, I would shoot a bad guy for you. In fact, what I'll do is I'll restart the game and show you some effects on that. So we press play. Right, where's the bad guys about? There's one there. We can shoot him. And he disappears, etc, etc. You can go up to a ladder. This is not quite right, we've not quite got the correct animation for this yet at the top, but you'll see it works. Right, so she'll walk up and down, that's all automatically generated by the length of the ladder, etc. We can pull out our bow, we can shoot that dude, he goes on fire, falls down, dead, and he'll disappear. Right, now you'll notice as well that we actually create tracks in the snow, as does all our animals, as does all our monsters. So everything, you can basically hunt by following the tracks of an animal. Right, and you'll notice that she reacts to the way the wind's blowing, like her hand goes up if she's walking into the wind. Right, but this is an example of switching it off. 109 days. Right, we've actually switched it off here. Right, did we switch it off? Did we actually run into that there? Or am I actually blocking it? Who knows, but I can switch it off anyway. right? But we can shoot deer as well. Right, there are some weird things go on, but and the weather's kind of weird as well because it's just a test map, but yeah. Now if we walk into here, you'll notice that turns off the hand up thing, so it doesn't do that anymore. But if we actually walk over this one, right, that's going to turn her reaction back on to the wind and snow. So there you go. Pretty cool, huh? So if you like that, hit like and subscribe. A shameless plug. But it looks even better in Unreal Engine 5, and that's what we're doing. We are actually converting stuff, and if anybody has done any stuff with maps in Unreal Engine 5, they will understand that things are screwed. Right? So basically what we've done here is we've output all of the stuff here. These are the static meshes of basically everything. Thank you very much, Flame, that's very kind of you. I appreciate it. But have a good day, and hope to see you back at some point. Right, so basically, as I was saying, we've got the complete path to our asset. We've got X, Y, and Z location. We've got X, Y, and Z rotation. We've got X, Y, and Z scale. Okay. So how does this work? Well, it works on a editor widget where I basically hit this button, and whatever map I am on, it will find every static mesh and then create all of those things, right? So what we actually want to do is, and how fast this is, you'll see in a minute, right? If I go to the Groenland shared assets, not the shared assets, the sub-levels, right? Then what I do is double click on this and open it and see if there's any static meshes, and there is, right? So since this is open, what I do is just go output mesh and then hit that button, and that's it done. Right, amazingly, that is it done. Because if we go into here, you'll notice we've now got cliff section 01 far. Right, if we open that, those are all the static meshes and their locations, rotations, and scales. Okay, pretty cool, huh? So you can see there we've got 4 files so far. We just go back to our content browser, click this one, it's got some, go to our output SMs, hit the button, job's a good one. So we've now got cliff section 2, right? And all you need to do is go through it, open it up, see if there's some static meshes. If there is, hit mesh. My intention is to do point lights and skeletal meshes as well, but as a testing and proving ground, we're going to do the static meshes first, right? And because it is so quick and easy to do, we can literally just bang through it, right? And just go output SMs, mesh, content browser, open this one, it's got meshes, output SMs, mesh, content browser, this one, output meshes, hit mesh, job's a good one. Hit this has got meshes, output SMs, mesh, content browser, go to this one, output SMs, mesh, this one, see this one's not got any, so we don't need to do this one. Okay, so we just jump over there, That one's not got any. We've got Greenland caves. It's definitely got some. Right. So back to output SMs, mesh, content browser, Greenland encampment. Pretty sure this has got some static meshes. Yep. Mesh, content browser, Greenland house. It's got some stuff. Output mesh, content browser, house 2. It's got some mesh, content browser, house 3. It's got some mesh, content browser. Right, and we just basically go through these until they're all done. Right, that's got some as well. Mesh, content browser, Greenland house 7. It's got a lot of decals. It's got some static meshes as well, so we can do that. Content browser. Finally, this one. This has got it as well. Mesh, content browser. And now if we open up our folder, you'll notice we've got all of these now. Okay? So for our player house one, which was the last one we did, you can see here we've got all our stuff, right? And it's storing all the stuff that we're doing there in a file, which we can read later. Okay, now we're not quite finished yet, I don't think. We need the distance far. Right. Then content browser, output SMs, mesh, content browser, output SMs, mesh, content browser, output SMs, mesh, mesh. Now this is all going to come into play once we've finished this. This has basically got one frickin' rock. But it's got to go. So we do the distance medium now, and we see if this is, yeah, it's got stuff. Right. Mesh, content browser, next one, output mesh, mesh. Hi there, Mr. Spock. So we basically just go through this, and this is the kind of boring part, which literally has only taken about 10 minutes. Things are good. We're making progress. We have also now got Oceanology, the plugin, right? So we've got all the plugins that we require to run these maps properly, which is good. Now it is my thinking here, if this goes well, if this all goes super duper swimmingly, right, then in theory, when we get to do the actual imports, we can do it a couple of ways, right? Basically what I could do is I could look in this directory and manually do it one by one, which is probably the way I'll do it for testing purposes, right? I'll show you in a minute what the import looks like, right? But now the only thing we need to do is the near, right? Mesh. So we've only got another 70 to do. Now what you've got to keep in mind here is, although I'm doing this really quick and not a lot seems to be happening, the amount of data that I am outputting here is basically going to be about 10,000 static meshes, right? And if you were to try and do this from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5 and do it manually, you can imagine how long it's going to take you to basically recreate 10,000 meshes, drag them in, position them, scale them, rotate them. Whereas what I'm doing here is I'm pulling out all the information. That's me just done it, right? I've pulled out all the information for all the static meshes for every single map, right? So where do we go from here? Well, first thing we can do is we can look at what we've got. Right now we've got a lot of files, which is fine. You can see some of these are 45 kilobytes, right? And all these are is a line of text, right? These are all just a line of text or multiple lines of text, okay? So we're done. Now what we can do is we can go in here and we're going to close these down because we're going to be opening some of them, right? So the intention here is to test it, okay? And the way we're going to test it is we're going to create a brand new map, right? And then basically we're going to spawn all these items and give them their position, rotation and location. Okay, and for a static mesh, that is all you need. Okay. And then basically, if my presumption is correct, our streaming in and out should be automatic because everything will be placed in the world in the correct place, as it was in 4.27. Right, but we do have a little bit to go. We do have a little bit of code, which I don't know if it's going to be if this is going to be a weird one or not. It might be very, very straightforward, I don't know, but we are going to have to split up our CSV, and basically it's a CSV file, right? Now I have got a backup plan if this doesn't work, right? What I did was, I'll show you just now again, I have a backup plan, right? And what I did was I created a transform. Sorry, I created a structure, then created the data table. Then I put something in it, like a static mesh and a transform. And then I exported it as a CSV file, right? To get format. Okay? So if this doesn't work, I can basically do it this way, right? That all I need to do is that's the row number, the mesh, transform new row, so that's the row name, right? Then static mesh, rotation, and I've had it outputting like this before, right? So I am not in the slightest bit worried about this. So I can recreate that, okay? So if I need to, I can format it in this way, if necessary, and then put each of our files into a CSV, right? And then we can create a data table for each level and import the CSVs, okay? So that is my backup plan, that if we need an intermediate step, we can indeed do it. Right, now, I've only just started on this, right? And I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, so what this is doing is it's looking for a file, right? All this new stuff in the GDC thing or new stuff here. Right, so we're going to open our import. Right now, this isn't actually doing very much at the moment. Right, but we shall get it doing something in a minute. Right, so as you can see, what it's doing is I've got a basic file path which is c/sms, right, and then we type in the name of the file that we want to load, and then if we read it successfully, right, we set this checkbox, right, and that's all we're doing at the moment. I wanted to leave this for this stream where we shall actually start chopping the whole thing up, okay? So if I actually run this, and I know for a fact if I do Greenland underscore x3 underscore y0 dot txt, right, now if I click this button, if it reads this successfully, this will get ticked, right, and there we go. Okay, now if I do that, it's not going to find it, so it's going to be unticked. Okay, so we can put a message here to say, you know, file found in red, etc, etc, right? But this is just the beginning of what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to get this return, and I'm sure we can make an array out of this. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is we're going to go to designer, right, and we're going to add a text box here, right, and it's going to be a variable txt array. Now what I want to do is actually create this array from, and I want to split it by what I want to do is split this by the return key. Okay, so there is a way to do this. Parse into array. The delimiter is going to be the return key. So shift return, call empty strings, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go not file path. Don't be silly. Don't be a silly person. We're going to get this text array. Right, then we're going to set text set text, right, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab the length of this and we're going to plonk that into there. Okay, and that's going to tell us how many items, hopefully, are in this array. Okay, now the way we can check is if we go to here, check our SMS, right, and then we go to Groenland 30, open it. Right, now does this tell us how many lines there are? Is there anywhere it gives us? Maybe I have to open it in WordPad to find out. But let's say there's a few, right? Right, we're going to say there's a few. There's more than 10, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to say Greenland X3, we need an underscore. We can copy and paste these, by the way, from the file names when we're actually doing it for real. Y0 dot txt, okay, 444. So perfect, right? We've got it split into an array, and just for explanation for you guys, hopefully. Right, for some reason that's not going to disappear off the other screen. Right, there we go. Right, just for explanation's sake, one line is this. Okay? One line is this, up to the return. The return is here. So basically we have 444 lines of data, okay? And they're all split up into the single asset that we want to load. Okay? So that means we have all the information that we actually need to now build the mesh and place it into the world. Okay? So we've done our provisional testing to make sure that everything is working up till here the way we want it to, right? We've got it split up into our individual static meshes. We're loading and basically setting it to correct. Yes, we're upgrading. This is part of the upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, right? Because there's no easy way to move world composition maps into world partition maps, okay? Your levels all become separate, but what we want to do is we want to move everything from every single map into an Unreal Engine open world partition map, and this is the way I'm going to do it, right? So I'm going to move 10,000 static meshes from our 4.27 project into our 5 Unreal Engine 5 project, right? And because I do that, and if it works, then this is solving a major headache, okay? Because otherwise it's just not doable. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to get this array and let's actually promote this to a variable, right? And what we'll do is we'll call it mesh info, okay? And what we'll do is we're going to have an indicator if this is false or not, right? So we're going to put a branch on this. So if it's not true, then our little checkbox is not going to basically light up, right? We don't need this anymore, although we can keep it, it doesn't really matter, it's fine, right? But what we're going to do here is now we're going to split up our thing again, right? So we're going to say for each and this is where we get issues. Right, for, and this is one of the issues I had before. Hi Jess. Right, this is one of the issues I've had before with Unreal Engine 5, right, that it doesn't bring up the right things. I should be able to do for each, right, for, even if we do that, right, each, you'll notice it doesn't work. Now this is one of the things I was talking about before. Right, you'll notice it's got all this crap. Now the question is, this is a string, right, but it's not the right thing, right? Now, let's go to your content browser and let's go to your pawn. Let's open up our pawn, right? And as I said, this is one of the issues that I've came up against while using Unreal Engine 5. No problem, Jesse, hope it helped you. Hope you're now making progress again. Right, so we're going to open this pawn. And this is the first time we've ever opened the pawn. In Unreal Engine 5, that is. Come on. Right. So here we go, right? All we do is we copy the for each loop, we go back to our import, right? And then we paste it in, and now I bet you this gives us a for each loop, right? If I do for, you see, now it's there, Now, that's only because I knew about that, right? One of the limitations of Unreal Engine, the funny things it does, is it sometimes doesn't come up with these things when it should. But because I already knew about this, I knew if all I needed to do was copy a previous one in, right? And then it would pop up, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, right? And we're going to call it string info. Okay? And it's going to be a string, and it's going to be an array, and we're going to rename it, right, to string temp info. Okay, temp info, right? And this is a string, right? And we're going to say parse again, parse into array. This time the delimiter is going to be a comma. Okay? So remember guys, what I was doing before, right? The easiest way to show you this is probably not with this one actually. Well, maybe. Right, we'll go to the top. Let me explain what I'm doing here. No idea why it does that, Jess, but I knew about it, which is why it didn't worry me. The first time I came across it and all the rest of it, I was like, what the bloody hell's going on here? Right, but take this as one line, okay? What we're doing first is splitting this into an array of lines. So each of these becomes an item in the array, right? And then what we do is we delimit it again into another array, and it's going to be delimited by commas, right? So 0 will be, or element 0 is going to be our mesh. 1, 2, and 3 are going to be X, Y, and Z position. 4, 5, and 6 are going to be rotation. 7, 8, and 9 scale. Okay? Everybody got that? So, when we split this up now, right, we're going to say for each again, luckily we've done that once, and then we've got an element where we are get wait a minute. We're going to set this to this, right? And we don't need that. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is we are going to do a get And something's gone right out of my head here. Right, now wait a minute. String temp info. Right, okay. We need to compile it. You see, we've got elements here, right? And it's going to have 10 elements. So it's going to be 0 to 9, right? Get a copy. That's not what we want. What I want to know is how many elements this has. Right, and we probably want to copy and paste this. Right, and that's not how you copy and paste it. In Unreal Engine 5, you utter I think it's under, is it under maps? Apparently not. Did I just delete that whole thing? Animation blueprints. No, I don't think I put it in here. No, I didn't put it in there. If I put it anywhere, it'd be in here. Struct mesh, struct helper, interact. Where the hell is it? Alright. I'm pretty sure I called it import. Where'd it go? Import. Right there, it's there. It is in maps for some reason. Right. And it didn't save it either. Right. Save that. Then I think it's Control D. But since that doesn't work, we'll just do Control C, Control V. Right. Now what I want to know is what's the length of this, and it should be 10. Right. Right. So Greenland underscore x3 underscore y0 dot txt. It's 3. Now the question is it 3? And I don't think it is. Right? I do not think it is. I think I shall remove that and remove that. Right, because this should actually be 10. Wait a minute, should it? Right, we'll find out in a minute anyway. Right. And I should really have this copy pasted so that I can just put it straight back in, but anyway. TXT. Right. So we'll copy that for now. And it is 3. Right, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break that. I'm going to move that up a bit. I'm going to move that. I'm going to put that, and yeah, that's not going to work. No, don't really care, to be honest, Jess. I don't read anything about Epic and what they're doing or what they're not doing, right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect us, right? The only thing it can actually do is basically distract you, and you don't want distracted. Right, what we could do here is, if we did this, right, then it should say 9. Okay, it should say 9. There we go. Okay. So it's doing what I think it's doing, which is good. And if you're enjoying this so far, as we gradually now turn this, we can basically switch on integer here and then build our whole thing up, right? But I'm going to go and grab a cigarette. So if you're enjoying it, hit like, subscribe. Check out descriptions for links to Discord, personal Discords. What other things? Patreon, previous game on Steam, Kickstarter preview, and website. And I shall be back in a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. Alright guys, we're back and we are on 990 subscribers, only 10 to go. Right, so what we want to do here is we want to switch on and right, and we're basically going to go up to 9. Okay, this is where things get a little bit shady. Spawn actor from class, right, and static mesh actor, right, then we're going to set static mesh. Okay, if I can stop going on the wrong bloody thing. And now this is the part I'm not 100% sure about, right? Right, so I'll tell you what we'll do, right? What we'll do is we shall make transform. Right, and we'll split that, then we'll split that, then we're going to split that, now we might need to do a bit of jiggery pokery here. Right, so we're doing a for each loop. And we're splitting that up by delimiter. Right, so from this, get a copy. We're not going to do a for each. Right? And we're also not going to do that. What we're going to do is duplicate that. Then we're going to duplicate them. Duplicate them. Duplicate them. Right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just do this. This doesn't need to be super performative or anything, we just want it to work, right? Because we're only ever going to use it once, at least. Once or twice, and it doesn't matter if it's not particularly fast. It will be fast enough, right? It's going to be super fast, but the point being here that we're not worried too much about if it's super efficient or anything like that, because we're basically only going to use it a couple of times. And I've just closed that again. I can't believe I just did that. God damn it. Well, at least it didn't bloody delete everything. So there's what happens if you hit Control W. It basically closes the darn thing, which isn't ideal. But anyway. Right. It's going to go to there. It's going to go to there. Going to go to there. 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 Right, so that's basically us made our transform. Okay. Then that can go in there. Now, yeah, that's a static mesh actor, right? And I'm just wondering how this is the part that was going to be always going to be the problem. Not necessarily a big problem. But we're going to have to do set, I'm doing a Google, static mesh UE4 from path. Okay. Set static mesh path. Okay. Static mesh path. So that's not it either. Get asset. appears you can't set the path. Okay, let's see what this tells us, if anything. Asset data structures. When the game will be ready? A long time. We're going for first quarter of 2024. But it depends on the Kickstarter, right? Because the Kickstarter's got certain things in it. So for each right now, I don't even know what this element is. Array element asset data structure. Package name, package path, asset class path. This is just not going to go in here, is it? Okay, asset. Asset data. So that should be there. So if we cast it to a static mesh, that's static mesh component. Okay. Delete that. Static mesh. Create static mesh description. What does that do? That's certainly not going to get in there either. Well, it's not going to get in there because that wasn't the target anyway. Right, I'm going to delete that, right? And then I'm going to say cast to static mesh. goes in there. Right, if this works, guys, this will be a bloody miracle, right? This is how I work things out, by the way. Don't think there's any sort of black magic sorcery that I do. I just try and work things out and muck about with things and maybe get there, maybe don't. It's just one of them things. Right. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then we try something else. Right. Now it looks to me like we need to do that. But we think that all this is ever going to do is bring us back one asset. At least that's the hope. Right. But we only are actually asking for one asset. Right. Now, we're going to compile that, and before we do anything, right, what we're going to do is we're going to create a map, right? So we're going to create a level. Okay, we're not going to do that, right? New level. Right, and it's going to be open world empty, right? So that's smashing, right? So now we're going to save it, right? And we're going to call it import, right? And the year it's here, right? So we're in this map. Now, if this works, this is going to do some crazy shit, right? If it doesn't, it will probably do absolutely nothing. Right? Now, I'm not sure which one it's going to do, to be honest. This might work first time. It might fall on its ass. It might do nothing. It might crash. There is basically every possibility in the book here to whether this will actually work or not. But we're going to press import anyway. Well, interesting. Look at that. We created 446 actors. Right? Look at that. Our problem is we do not have a static mesh. Okay? So, that was pretty darn good, if you ask me. And the only part that basically screwed up, see how it's done 444, and if you remember correctly, that was the exact number of entries in that file, right? So we've got the world data layers and the world partition minimap, and notice we've got it here. So the only issue we have here is to get this to load the data, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to get this text array, then we're going to duplicate it, apparently we're not going to duplicate it. Right, we've duplicated it. Right. Now, the thing I want to know is if this goes to here, right, if it fails to cast, I'm going to say failed to cast. Right, so anytime it fails to cast, then obviously this isn't getting us the right data. Okay. So we're going to do that. And unfortunately I cut and pasted again, didn't I? So I'm going to have to type this in again. Right, so we're going to do x3 underscore y0 dot txt. Right, and we're going to copy that for use later. So if this goes to failed, we're failing to cast. It didn't fail to cast. Okay, but we have no static mesh. Okay, we can delete that. And back into here. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plonk that in there and see what this does. Right, and what we'll do is we'll swap this. We'll put this in here. We'll move this down a bit. Right, we'll put that there. We'll put that there. And then we're going to see if it actually does this a number of times. Get assets by path. Right, okay. We probably want to do this one next to see if this is true or false. So we'll plug that into there in a minute, but we'll try this first. Right. So we'll paste that, import that. Okay, the text block stayed the same. And all of our things are completely empty. Which is cool. We're getting there. We're getting there, folks. There's always going to be a bump in the road. So we're now going to do that. And we're going to see if this actually returns anything. Right? So if it manages to get this, then we should be in business. To some degree. This is still not doing anything. Right? So that's a bit weird. Right? That's a bit weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, then I'm going to do that. Right? I'm going to compile that. Oh, didn't like that. Right, it doesn't like this when it's not plugged in. Or when it is plugged in actual fact. Right. So we're not going to do that. Right, so all we're going to do is bring back the path. Right, so this should be a big long game maps, blah blah blah. Actually, it should be models, blah blah blah. Right, there you go. Right, that's going to be the last one. That's going to be the last one in our x3y0 file, right? So we know what type of thing we need, right? We just don't know how to turn it into a static mesh reference. That's the only thing here. Right? That's the only thing that's stopping this working right now. I don't know what this actually does. I don't know what this soft object path structure is. Okay. Guess it's this. And this is this data structure thing. So I'm guessing that goes in there. Right, we don't do that. Delete that. We don't need to do that. We can do that. that. Right guys, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is going to work, or is it going to be another blowout? I'm going for it could be anything. Might work, might not. And the answer is no. Right, at least it doesn't take long to do. So our answer would be, so that's an object. Right, so that should go in there. Right, so anything other than text block, none. Right, at least that tells us something, right? At least that tells us something. What it tells us, I don't know. But anyway, it does tell us something. Hi there, Cat Eats Chips, how you doing, bud? Now, the interesting thing here, right, is what we need to do is basically go to your content browser, right? Then go to models, categorized, right? Go to doors, right, it's not the source file we want. Game, model, categorized, doors, right. Asset actions. Copy file path. Right? Now, I'm wondering here. If we do this, get asset, get asset by object path. Right. Ah, wait a minute. Right, we'll try this, right? Now, in theory, if this works, I know how to fix it. Greenland underscore x3 underscore y0 dot txt. And it says none again. Right, so I don't know what's going on here. To be honest, because in effect instead of that it should be game. Then it should be dot, and then it should be that again. Right. Still don't think this is going to work, but we'll try it anyway. I think I'm going to have to read a bit of the old documentation on this. Yeah, see, it still says none. Right. So right, so it's not that. I'm just wondering if there's some way that I can get an object from a file name. Asset import task. That's not what we wanted to do. Right, we're kind of, as you see, I'm kind of got quiet because I'm kind of trying to think through the different ways we could possibly do this. I mean, in theory, get object. Nope, it's not that. Right. I'm just wondering here. Right, if I was to do a door, alright, cheers, Sunbuster. Right, we need SM underscore door. Right. Let's say it's this one. If I do that, compile that. Now, if this doesn't pass, this isn't going to change, otherwise it's going to give us the right thing. that's not the right thing. y0.txt import. Right? So that is the right thing. That is definitely the right thing, right? Now, what we want to do now is we want to go into here, and this is our X3. Now, this is our statue 3, right? So, what we want in here is statue 3, and that's it there. Okay, now we know for a fact that this is the last one, right? We can control A that, delete them. So what we can do is we can check this value against this value, and in theory, if we know the path is correct, right, we should know that we should be able to set an object path and then create an object out of it. Yeah? So we should be able to do this. That's the wrong thing again. And x3 y0.txt, right? Game models Viking meshes blah blah blah. Okay, which is fine. Game models Viking right? Now what we want to do is go to here and basically put that in there. Compile that. Right? Paste that. Apparently I didn't copy it. Groenland x3 y0.txt import / game models. That's exactly the same. Okay, so the question is, do we have to do this in C++? I don't know. Right? So this is correct. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do this off stream, do a bit of... We're not far off, right? We're a key element that we're missing, and then it's going to work, right? So I am super happy with it so far. The only thing is the fact that we don't seem to be able to load the object. Right, now if we can get that done without C++, then we'll do it, but if we have to do it with C++, then we'll do that too. Right, either way we're going to get it to work, because it is literally a micrometer away from actually working. I just need to know how to do this. Right, so if you've enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. We're 10 away from 10 or less away from 1,000, which would be fantastic. Check out the description for links to my Discord and the games Discord, plus Patreon, my previous game on Steam, Kickstarter preview, and website. And I shall see you tonight. I'll be back at 8 PM and we'll be having a look at it from there. So thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.